afford to stop for
JID is one of the most interesting rappers in all of hip-hop. Despite his faster rapping style, he does it in such a way to where it's actually enjoyable. And considering JID is having a career resurgence and hitting new peaks that he hadn't hit before, I wanted to take a look at the story of JID.
Push the fucking pack off of the porch or break a pound down.
The story for JID starts in East Atlanta. Before his music career, JID would spend his time playing good old American football, and he was pretty good at it considering he received a D1 scholarship at Hampton University. And it was at that university that he would meet the rap duo Earth Gang in 2010. Eventually, they'd all get kicked out of school, causing all of them to have to focus on music and get better at rapping.
For sure, bro, cause stealing that shit, that's what like started our whole Spillage Village shit. Like me and JID, we did it together. And a couple of other homies, like we was a squad of us, and after that we got kicked out of Hampton. We ended up living together because our parents put us out. We was all disgraced and shit. And he came back home.
You did this senior year?
Yeah, came back home.
Put all that work in.
After some years outside of school, Earth Gang and JID would eventually get signed to J. Cole's Dreamville. And with the J. Cole co-sign, JID would release his debut album, The Never Story.
I got my head right in his bless. Yeah, the rap game like
this album went against everything that was the Atlanta sound in the 2010s. It was an album that mainly focused on lyricism and flows rather than the usual club hits that were popping in Atlanta during the 2010s. In other words, instead of taking inspiration from a Migos type of rapper, JID would show that his style was based around more of the Kendrick Lamar type. Especially on a song like Never, you can really hear the Kendrick Lamar influence throughout the track.
same stuff, but I haven't came up. This really ain't nothing.
And the beat switch is awesome.
What you call a chick that don't suck dick? You don't.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think the second part of the song is way better than the first one, to be honest with you. Oh, and also, if you're gonna check out the album, you should check out Ed and Eddie.
Me and my two niggas be like Ed and Eddie.
That's another song that definitely deserves more attention than it gets. Although the album wouldn't make any crazy noise or have any impact on the mainstream level, the critical reception for the album was great. But going into 2018, JID would take his fame to a whole new level. JID would work with artists all the way from Denzel Curry to Mac Miller, essentially leaving a mark all over the rap scene. But he really became the breakout star of 2018 once XXL dropped their freshman list.
Cold to flame it. Lame niggas, I gotta put it in lamest terms. I'm finna murder you niggas. You better spread the word.
JID stole the show, out-rapping everyone in XXL ciphers and putting one of the best, if not the best, in XXL history.
King Kong rumble, young man rumble in the jungle. Trees tumble, bees bumble. Crumble, yeah.
He gained the respect of a lot of hip-hop fans, whether it be the diehards or the casual, but mostly the ones that didn't know who he was going into it. He really did utilize XXL in the way that it was supposed to be used, as he came in, showcased his skill, and got a lot of attention because of it. And because of how good his freestyle was, there was a lot of hype for JID's next album. And thankfully we wouldn't have to wait a lot, as DiCaprio 2 would release in late 2018, living up to the expectations that were set upon it.
But I gotta kill it like a fucking villain, dream villain, spill villain, ride to the tomb.
The album was received well by most people, and understandably so as well, because it was definitely one of the albums of the year. J. Cole was nice enough to hop on the album, and Off These is one of my favorite songs of the 2010s.
So I can't complain. Me and Ben Frank got a damn good thing going on, way more than a random flame.
I did not know that the phrase "get off my dick" could be said so fast. It honestly is surprising that J. Cole was able to keep the same energy and stay as fast-paced as JID was. Another song that was notable for me was a song like 151 Rum.
Run, run, nigga, run, jump, nigga, jump, come here, they come, run, 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 run.
It was one of the best songs that year, as it had impeccable lyrics and untouchable flows from beginning to end, as well as a hard-hitting beat. It was definitely one of the better performances in rap that year, at least in my opinion.
Need to lay off the dope. My niggas getting it straight off the boat. Pure cut, put it straight to you.
Also, in terms of favorites, Off the Slinkies gotta be the one.
I ain't nosy, but I know what I know. Mr. Know It All.
I'm a sucker for a looping piano, but I also get extremely hyped when JID starts talking about Ronald Reagan, because, you know, fuck Ronald Reagan. I love hating on Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, I can't think I'm enough. Nah, I'm playing nigga racist. Fuck.
Shout out to Huey Freeman for also hating Ronald Reagan. After DiCaprio 2, JID would basically step away from his solo career for a little bit. He would help out the Dreamville cast with their album, as well as Earth Gang in some of their albums as well. And these projects are worth checking out, especially because JID puts out pretty great performances in them.
Top of the morning to anybody who thought it was Betty by JID. I'm like a Jedi, mind.
However, I'd be lying if I didn't say that the JID name kind of lost a little bit of the steam that it had back in 2018. However, heading into 2022, it would all change. It would start at the end of 2021 when he paired up with Imagine Dragons of all people. Maybe it's because I don't listen to him, but I did not expect Imagine Dragons to be like the people that would collaborate with JID.
Okay, I'm hoping that somebody pray for me. I'm praying that somebody...
Not the biggest fan of Imagine Dragons though, to be honest with you. Thankfully for JID, this was his most successful hit song, commercially reaching number 5 in Billboard's Hot 100. And honestly, this was just the beginning for what has been an amazing run for JID in 2022.
Tell me what the fuck do people know about the bros?
In 2022, he has put out a lot of songs that are contenders for Song of the Year. His feature on Stick was awesome.
We got allergies, we got alibis, we got calibers, categories.
By the way, shout out to Check West. I don't know what happened to that guy, but I was happy to see him here. And on top of all of this great music, JID would release the Forever Story.
Every day is a move, everywhere you are.
Undoubtedly one of the best albums this year, and probably JID's best album so far. You can really hear the growth in JID just as an artist and as a person, and in my opinion that is really special. He didn't rest on his laurels, and it really does feel like he went out there and tried experimenting, seeing what works and what doesn't.
Everybody wanna come and hang with the stars. Pinky ring chain, bling bling in the cars. 100 miles an hour.
There's a lot of songs that I can recommend from the album, and honestly, if I were you, I would listen to the whole thing in one sitting. This album is one of the few albums that are purely rap and still an experience. It's something that we don't see anymore in the modern day. Every track being a great exhibition of flows, lyrics, and just good energy. My favorites are personally Crack Sandwich.
She could be the collapse of a kingdom, but kings gotta peep.
The beat is pretty cool. It reminds me of like 90s hip hop, to be honest with you.
Pull out the punk, can't pump me, ho. Pull out the punk, can't pump me.
Can't Punk Me has some of the best energy I've ever heard on any hip hop track. Earth Gang kills it as well, so shout out to them for real. Also, I love Dance Now.
Say that I can't, damn lie, ain't dapping no hands. Say that
I've seen the song be mashed up in TikTok with Michael Jackson, and it works pretty well.
I'm not a two-stepping man. I said I do not dance.
But honestly, the best track on the album isn't even on the album. Due to some like sample clearances, 2007 wasn't able to be on the album, but make no mistake about it, this one is a classic.
When my growth spurt hit, I'm a big captain, and I was around 2010, no cap.
I know it only came out like a month ago, but it really does feel like a top 3 JID song, if not the best JID song I've ever heard.
March 10th, 2017, the Never Story dropped, and I'm coming off a tour with...
Overall, despite his age, I think JID is actually one of the stars of hip-hop heading into this next generation. I'm excited to see how he further expands his rapping skills, but I know that this isn't the peak, mainly because the Forever Story really does feel like he's laying out the blueprint for something bigger.
That's the difference between the niggas that never get what they want and the niggas whose names ring out forever. Forever.
With that being said though, shout out to JID, shout out to J Dilla, and I'm gonna let the outro roll. So yeah.